If we tease apart the unique dynamics of this most of the wonderful relationships, we see that mothers have their own set of pressures separate from those their sons experience. It is critical that we understand both sets. Pressures unique to boys and pressures unique to mothers. Sometimes the two intertwine, sometimes they don't. Research shows that the surest way to help a boy is to help whoever has the greatest influence over him. For millions of boys, that means mom. 64,000 is the median number of words per book. Average person reads about 200 words per minute. Simple math will tell us that is one book in 320 minutes. To accomplish this in 7 days, numbers say you would have to read for 45 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button, like, comment, and share. Enjoy. Welcome to the Book of the Week series. Every week as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. My name is Igor S.F. Walker. Today, we look at Strong Mothers, Strong Sons. Lessons mothers need to raise extraordinary men. By Dr. Meg Meeker. So, how about you slow down and relax? Reduce all that noise for just a bit. Make that choice and decide to listen. In this video, we'll look at a book which gives encouragement and practical advice, the means by which mothers can experience love in healthy ways to boys in order for them to learn love women better as they mature. And the importance of hard work, service, and a well-developed inner life. Stick around till the end. I will share with you some tools I haven't used that will help you tremendously in this game of life. Discover a way to find out what actually motivates you, what innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. I will share some tools to improve your self-awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, and relationship management. Common triad, which every mother feels at some point: guilt, fear, and anger. Boys have their own pressures, both powerful and potentially destructive. They face confusion regarding the role of masculinity in a rapidly changing world, a role that warps under their feet, even as they learn about what it means to be a man. William Pollack of Harvard Medical School cites that there is a gender gap in academic performance and boys are falling to the bottom of the heap. He says that much of this stems from the fact boys lack confidence in addition to an inability to perform. We can see a vicious cycle among boys emerging. Many fail to graduate from high school, from college, and their self-esteem and their productivity is lowered. As a result, the sense of being strong men plummets, and they become less motivated to excel. This is a deeply disturbing trend. The burden on mothers is great, and many feel that it is simply too much when it comes to raising sons. For the most part, daughters seem easier. They are much less mysterious to mothers because of their shared gender. After all, every mother was once a young girl. And though mothers cannot give up on their sons, girls are communicators and most boys aren't. Though exact statistics vary among research, the number of words that females use per day is in the order of 13,000 more than men use per day. Boys see through a different lens than actually girls do, and often it is hard to understand one another. In fact, many times when moms try to make amends by discussing their feelings with their sons, moms can be met with further rejection because boys don't always want to talk things through. Often loving our sons, is getting over our own feelings of rejection, of worry, and taking that first step toward them. Loving them in meaningful ways means adapting beyond our comfort zones, like disciplining ourselves to listen without interrupting, tackling frustrating conversations, or offering to spend more time with our sons doing relaxing things like going to a movie or riding a bike. We must remember that as the adult, we bear the burden of initiating gestures of love to our sons. The great news for moms is that when we do these hard things for our sons, the rewards are immeasurable. First, we needn't be afraid. The love that we share with our sons is unlike any other love, and we must feel confident about this. No one can replace us in our sons' lives. When we really wrap our minds around this truth, we will feel much less afraid of actually losing them. Second, jealousy never leads anywhere good. If we feel jealous over friends, our son's father, his girlfriend, his wife, no one wins. In fact, we stand to lose a lot if our jealousy takes control of our actions. But we cannot oust it if we don't recognize it. Third, we need to realize that letting our sons grow up is actually our job. As they mature, they're not supposed to stay too physically attached to us. Good mothers want their sons to grow up and be independent. We can let our sons go, and we can be strong enough to embrace the changes that do happen in their lives, confident that we are no less valuable to them than we were before. Every one of our sons leaves home at one point. They become men who can actually return to help mothers in ways that no other human can. They can teach us how to live our lives better. If we hold on long enough and love them always, they come back, always. For many young boys and teens, life feels overwhelming. If a boy loses his grandmother, it will hurt for months. When a fourth grader is called fat and lazy, those scars never heal. When a teenage boy is forced to choose between living with his mother or his father, he may never recover from the emotional stress this choice causes. Too many boys have no one to help them navigate these feelings. Sensitivity is a wonderful, protective, inspiring, and fulfilling quality to have. But for many boys, it actually feels like a curse. Unless he has a great mom. Very often fathers will scold boys for having these feelings when the father really needs to reprimand the way they handle the feelings. For instance, if a son gets mad and runs after his sister and hits her over the head with her Barbie doll, the father may yell at him to go to his room because he's out of his line. Of course he's out of line. But unless his father lets him cool down and tells him that it is okay to be angry, but he's never allowed to hit his sister, well, the boy will leave the experience thinking that his feeling of anger is not legitimate and that he actually shouldn't have these feelings if he wants to actually have the approval of others. Very often describing someone else's feelings is actually a safe way for your son to understand his own. Many young boys project their feelings onto other kids when they're too uncomfortable to face their own emotions. Train yourself to listen, and then train some more. How you listen determines whether your son keeps talking or actually stops the conversation. When he talks, he's not just saying words. He's telling you about himself, what he thinks about himself, what he hopes for, what he fears. It is all there, tucked in between the sighs and the shoulder shrugs. And you will miss it if you're not truly listening. We know that boys use fewer words than girls do. Rather than say what is on their minds, they tend to keep their thoughts to themselves and share them only with friends they know they can trust. If a son has strong feelings about something, he may ponder those thoughts for a time and then wait until he finds a friend he knows will appreciate those feelings and not make fun of him. Girls, on the other hand, they express themselves more freely. If a thought comes to mind, they will share it more quickly than a boy will. Girls are more natural communicators, in part because talking is the means by which girls bond with others, whereas boys bond by participating in activities with others. This is a very important difference for mothers to understand. If a mother has a daughter and then has a son, she will be very surprised by how differently they react to the same exact situations. Her son may say fewer words, and his language may develop later than her daughter's. And as he gets older, he may not even want to talk about his feelings as readily as the daughter does. Mother may start to feel that her son doesn't like being with her as much as her daughter does, simply because he speaks less. Now, this isn't true. Boys feel the range and the depth of emotions just like the girls do. They just don't express them. We interrupt when we mean to teach. Daughters handle being interrupted better than sons do. Daughters, like moms, are communicators and they like using lots of words. And if interrupt them while they're speaking, many of them simply interrupt back. Not so with sons. If they are interrupted, their feelings actually get hurt because they think we don't value what they have to say, and they simply stop talking. Sons want 3 things when they talk to someone. They want someone who isn't shocked by what they hear. They want someone who will not ignore them, and someone who will not feel sorry for them. It is very important that you communicate to your son that no matter what he says, as long as he does so in a respectful tone, you can handle it. Older boys may fear talking to their mothers because they're afraid to lose their respect. Shame is a powerful motivator to stay silent. Now, your son needs to know that you will never shame him or feel ashamed of him, no matter what he does. He needs to know that you may get mad, but you will not scream. See, we all need to adopt proactive language rather than the reactive language. For instance, reactive language is when we say to ourselves, there's nothing I can do, that's just the way I am, or he makes me so mad. This is an unhealthy perspective. It leaves us feeling trapped. Changing our perspective and restating our thoughts in proactive language, which sounds something like this. Let's look at our alternatives. I can choose a different approach, and I can control my own feelings. This is exactly what mothers can do for their sons as we teach them that their feelings may be intense, but they needn't rule their behavior. For a boy to learn early in his life that what he likes, what he is good at, and what he wants are all important. But in the end, unless he learns how to use those things to help others around him, he will never recognize the true purpose of his life, nor will he live a more fulfilled life. We don't often think of teaching forgiveness as being high on our list of responsibilities, but we should. The reason is simple. Men who are able to forgive others their offenses are happy people, period. Nothing frees a man like the ability to forgive a person who has deeply wounded him. Strength, ability, maturity. Your son wants them all. Starting from the time he's a toddler, your job as his ardent supporter, teacher, number 1 fan, is to make sure that he embraces his strengths at different stages of his life. As he grows, your job is to draw out his natural abilities and then help him develop them. so that he can feel independent and also competent as he matures. The tricky part for mothers is making sure that the challenges we give our sons are actually age appropriate. Often, boys' desires to do things independently are way ahead of his actual abilities. First, regardless of his age, give your son physical challenges. Boys respond very well to demand of this kind because anything that they can master physically make them feel tough and strong. One of the best and easiest ways to do this is to give your sons chores. Second, as your son matures, you need to communicate to him that he can do many things without your help because, and I know this hurts, in an older son's eyes, needing your help means that he's a wimp. Teach him confidence, teach him responsibility. Your son might feel awkward, but this awkwardness should not stop you from talking because the topic is important. Most likely your son will avoid the conversation, but keep talking anyway. The gift of the blessing. Number 1, acceptance. Gift number 2, admiration. Gift number 3, attention. Be inclusive, not exclusive. Wisdom is a curious thing. It is not knowledge or judgment, intelligence, insight, or the willingness to do what is right, nor is it simply spiritual, given supernaturally by God. It is all of these combined. Wisdom is crucial to good parenting because every parent aspires to be wise and then pass the wisdom on to their children. Keep the process age appropriate. Trust your instincts and check your motives. You see, something quite mysterious happens when a mother lets go of her little boy. She gets back a man, and not just any man, but one who shares her values, knows her flaws, accepts her weaknesses, and cares for her in a way that no other man can. He is her son, and she is his mom. And that is about as good as life gets. And there you have it. Strong mothers, strong sons. Now please do help out. It is easy. Simply like this video so more people can enjoy it. Share it too and spread the word. Do leave a comment and share your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel and stay up to date. And the link to this book is in the description below. So buy it, read. Never stop learning, especially learning about yourself and nature. So gift yourself by taking the free human needs test on my website and find out what actually motivates you, what innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. And if you feel you are ready to improve your self-awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, and your relationship management even further, do check out my Master of Life Awareness program. The links are in the description below. Thank you. Love and respect.